Okay. Please, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to be very snappy. The health experts have spoken, and then our gentleman in the who has expertise in the area of environmental issues has also spoken. I'm going to come through with effective advocacy strategies that we could employ as individuals in the country. And we as an organization, our main vision is focused on creating a world where every individual has the opportunity to thrive and communities are also empowered to drive positive change. And it's on this note that we felt it right to include what we can also do as individuals living in areas where Galamsey, I mean, is extending and of course is getting to every part of the country. So every region, every part is under threat. So we felt it right to add this part of it so that we are all informed and then we all get to play our individual roles. So I'm going to take us through the introduction. We'll look at a bit of the objectives of advocacy and then the effective advocacy strategies, and then we get to the call of action and then we are done. So when we are looking at the concept, the whole concept of advocacy, when we talk about advocacy, it's basically promoting changes in policies, in practices and attitudes to address some issues, prevailing issues that poses threat to our existence as human beings on earth. So if we find ourselves in a community where there's an outbreak and an individual or the community decides to embark on an awareness raising, that is a way of advocating to ensure that that particular issue that is being faced by the community is addressed and handled well for the safety of individuals living in a community. And so the approach to advocacy, what it does is that generally it amplifies the voice of people, one within the community or the community itself that is being affected by that particular social issue. And so in the whole advocacy approach usually focuses on every other issue that affects the human security and our existence here on earth. So when we talk about the human security bit, any other thing that poses threat to human existence in terms of food, water, the environment, our reproductive rights, our healthcare, and what have you. So the objectives of advocacy, why people try to advocate for certain things, social issues, wanting to see a particular change, is basically to help them raise awareness about the threats. Because until that threat is made known to others, people will not really know the implication or impact it's going to have on their existence. So when this is done, it's going to promote sustainable livelihood. And when we also embark on advocacy, we are looking at influencing policy change. And an example is the amendment of the Criminal Offences Act, which was able to replace life imprisonment with death penalties. You know, when we were growing up, I mean, if you were a Gen Q or Gen W person, you know that gone were those days when we watched movies and people murder people, and so they had to sentence them to death. But in the 2000s, when we got to the 21st century there, we realized that human rights experts were speaking. We are addressing the issue as inhumane. So it called for an abrupt, take out of that particular sentence or penalty as a punishment. So instead of death penalty for committing murder and all of that, it was now life imprisonment. And we also look at the impact of advocacy as having been able to empower the community leaders to be able to embark on that particular change. So the whole approach to advocacy, it starts from a level and then it gets to an escalated level where they see change If you're advocating for something and there is not any sign of change, you cannot stop as an advocate. So whatever issue you are addressing, you find yourself wherever you find yourself and you're trying to address a particular issue, it takes the awareness raising bit, and then you get that collective action to let them know the implication bit. That way you are trying to drive towards a social change. It does not happen in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, or a year. Sometimes it takes a while, but the end goal is that the advocacy approach, the advocacy strategy and efforts must be implemented before we can see that social change we want to see in the community. So the strategies that can be employed can range between the individual level side. We look at the community engagement and then the community support strategies. So on the individual level, looking at the advocacy strategies that we can employ to ensure that we are also contributing our quota as individuals to fight against galamsey and its threats to our human existence. Those in the community that are prone to, these galamsey activities, individuals within the community, when they are exposed to the awareness raising of the threat, must come to a realization that they are going to desist from it. Yes, we know it brings a lot of money and all of that, but we are weighing a generation of human existence, a phase of it that will be affected by an activity that is giving you a present, source of income. So when they are able to know some of these things, individuals then take it upon themselves to desist from practicing it. And then when we look at some of us, student leaders, youth advocates, and NGOs, we are saying that the individual contribution bit should span from all these areas, all these class of people, groups of people. When you see some of these advocacies, social change champion advocates doing some of these things on the internet, do not keep quiet. When there's a hashtag, come on, you'll be affected by galamsey anyway. So you need to also join. Get into the hashtag bit, just post something and hashtag it. If there are discussions on social media seeking views, you are a student, you are a grasag, you are an advocate, you are passionate about social change, get into the discussion. Do not stay aloof. Do not think that it is. Galamsey has really transcended from the whole political bit to becoming a whole national issue. And if we don't take care, we'll be sinking in it as Ghanaians. So it does not matter where you are, who you are. Once someone is advocating for it, just join it. And we know that some of these things also help in changing policies. If you also want to delve deeper in looking at the frameworks that exist, the various laws that exist in regulating mining and natural resources. As an individual, as a student of change, as an agent of change, you can just read some of these acts, look at it very well, take a critical look at the implementation vis-a-vis what has been written, and then you are able to query, question, critique some of these things. That way you are able to bring out some of the limitations, and then you can write some papers. It doesn't take a barrel of knowledge to write about something. You must just do something. This comes from when you are able to do a lot of research in looking at the various policies that are available vis-a-vis the implementation and then the effect